So, lads, I think we're live. I think we are live right now. We are, in fact, live right now. So, it is obviously time to talk about some of the WNBA training camp stuff, and there have been a lot of injuries. There have been an awful lot of injuries. And obviously, this is as of 5:41 p.m. my time. I have been like kind of hibernating. I slept till I had a very long sleep last night, so we're getting ready for preseason starting tomorrow. So I'll call it hibernation with the late stream right here because I had a major sleep in. But yeah, it's all in all, it's gonna be a really interesting thing to see what ends up happening for a lot of these teams. Because as you can see, Meg Gustafson is hurt. And not only that, like obviously Georgia Amor is hurt. It's just been a lot of players, an awful lot of players hurt, lads. So if somebody could type in chat, that'd be greatly appreciated. Someone could type in chat, that'd be greatly appreciated. Just so I can see the chat's working. Just so I can check chat's okay. There we go. Thank you for just... That is perfect. Just a comment of chat works. LeChoke choked again last night. He is 40. He is 40. He is 40. Like, I'm not out here. I'm not out here going to call out a 40-year-old. Like, if we're not going to call out every 40-year-old in history, which we've never called, no one's ever held 40-year-old to any standard in the history of basketball before, so I'm not holding a 40-year-old to the standard of a top 5 player in the world. Because I don't think he's that. I don't think he's that. Like, he's not even the best player on his team. But, yeah, so for Aces fans, this is not the most ideal thing that you're going to have to see right here. That Megan Gustafson's sidelined indefinitely. That's not good. That is not good. Like, I hope it's not too bad. But, at least they didn't say ACL injury. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, there's been no news of, like, an ACL tear for Georgia Amor, just ACL injury. No one ever says ACL injury if it's not an ACL tear. If it's a sprain, you know, it's probably a knee sprain. Nobody would ever say that somebody has a, like, ACL injury if it's not an ACL tear. But for Meg Gustafson, this is big for the Aces. She is by far the best player on the Aces team. Not best player. Jesus Christ, the was the best bench player on the Aces team. Like, Tiffany Mitchell, you never know when she's going to be back. Like, I rate Meg Gustafson quite highly. I thought she had a few really big games last year, and she's better than Kia Stokes. So, it's going to be a tough one for them in the regular season for the Aces, because obviously, look, again, Gustafson's not giving them too much in terms of the box score, but with no Chi and Parker Tyus, they're going to have to rely on Kia Stokes and Kia Stokes alone, unless somehow Liz Kitley becomes a good WNBA player immediately. And I don't... Like, Liz Kitley was a fringe first-round pick last year, tore her ACL. So, like, I'm not... As good as she was at Virginia Tech, I'm not going to just say, you know what, Liz Kitley's going to make a huge difference for the Aces. Again, you just never know. If it turns out that Liz Kitley hoops, which I think a lot of people think that she will, like, Aces fans, in fairness, have been delusional enough to say that, you know, she actually was a top 3 pick last year. She was better than Cameron Brink, and the only reason she fell was that she was injured. And I'm like, with the amount of players that weren't coming over to the WNBA taking the first round last year, like, if she was that good, a team would have taken her in the first round. She went the last pick in the second round. But for the Aces, you look at their depth chart now without Meg Gustafson. So how many players do they have here? So Parker Tyus has not come back till near the end of the year. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So they have 15. And I assume, considering the fact that Jewel Lloyd, Chelsea Gray, Aja Wilson, and Jackie Young are making $900K of the like 1 point. What is the WNBA salary cap? So the salary cap is 1.5 million. So they've got 600K for the rest of their team, and they're paying Kia Stokes 100K. So when it comes to the Aces, like they've got very, very little salary cap room. And that's like not including any of their rookies. Like basically they have to sign everybody not named: Kia Stokes, Jewel Lloyd, Aja Wilson. Actually Gustafson's on 90K a year. So maybe, and the fact is I don't think that they can't suspend Gustafson's salary, which is 96K. So realistically they're going to be able to spend. Do they have? I'm trying to think, do they even have enough? They'll be okay, I think. They'll be okay. They'll probably go out with 11. But, and this Aces team's not looking nice. And I was going to make a video about this, that it's like, the Aces didn't have a GM this summer. That didn't help. They signed their marquee free agent signing is pregnant and isn't going to be playing. And instead of saying, you know what, Aja Wilson's only 29 years old, we're going to build around her in the future, and we're going to take the number 2 pick. They chose Jewel Lloyd over the number 2 pick in the draft. Let me repeat. They chose Jewel Lloyd over Dominique Malonga. They chose Jewel Lloyd over Dominique Malonga. And I understand Jewel Lloyd helps them more this year. But Jewel Lloyd, if you literally could have signed a max free agent and Dominique Malonga for basically the same salary. There were so many. You could have kept Tiffany Hayes. Tiffany Hayes is better than Jewel Lloyd. You could have kept Tiffany Hayes, started Tiffany Hayes, and just had Malonga in your team. And you chose Jewel Lloyd. That is the sign of a non-existent GM. That is the sign of a GM that it just does not exist. That is a non-existent GM decision make. You can get the highest upside player maybe in the history of the sport, and you can keep Tiffany Hayes, who was fantastic per minute last year and looked in unrivaled to be every bit at her peak, given her the contract she needed, but you chose an addition by a player that people argue is addition by subtraction now she's gone from the Seattle Storm. Like, I understand, again, she's won a scoring champ. She was an all-star MVP. She's made a few all-WNBA teams. She's coming off a season where she, by the way, she averaged 7.5 points per game in the playoffs. She averaged 7.5 points per game in the playoffs. 5 of 17 games were not uncommon. Her last 4 games of the season: 3 of 15, 5 of 17, 2 of 8, 3 of 11. A bad unrivaled. And you traded the number 2 pick for her. And you might be saying, Kelsey Plum. They traded Kelsey Plum for her and they need to go like for like. I'm sorry, Tiffany Hayes was a better like for like replacement than Jewel Lloyd. And you could have got Malonga. The Sparks trade the number 2 pick and 13 for Kelsey Plum. In fairness, they did get 9. So they traded that. Like, all you had to have done, you had multiple second round picks. You could have just straight up gone Kelsey Plum for 2. You could have gone straight up Kelsey Plum for 2 and they would have taken it. They would have taken it. Or you go and find some way Kelsey Plum and a second for 2. And you suddenly end up with a team that's equally as good, except you've now got Malonga. So, instead of having Kia Stokes playing center, and even if Kia Stokes starts the year at center, by the end of the year, you've got Malonga at center, and then you go into next year with Malonga and Aja Wilson being the greatest front court pairing, 4-5 pairing in the history of women's basketball. And that includes, again, like those Lynx teams. You've got a player who people are arguing is the GOAT with a player who has the potential to be the greatest player that's ever played the sport. You had the chance to get 2 of them. You had the chance to combo up a potential, someone in the GOAT conversation with someone who has the future of being in the GOAT conversation, and you chose Jewel Lloyd. Like, and now it doesn't even help that your best bench, well, her or Tiffany Mitchell, your best bench big is now injured indefinitely, so you're now relying, you had Chian Parker-Tyus, who's pregnant, so she's not coming over. Now Meg Gustafson is injured, so you're relying on a Liz Kitt of a second-round pick coming off an ACL tear. That is what you're relying on now off the bench. And again, if you had just went and got Tiffany Hayes, you could have probably gotten Tiffany Hayes on a $170K a year contract. That gives you leeway of $75K to get another, not max free agent, but another high-level free agent. Like, obviously, look, you can't prep for injuries, but the Aces, I think, are going to be a complete disaster this year. I think they're going to be a disaster. And by the way, thank you so much for the $5, Brandon. Thank you so much. Sorry, I was just recording a video there. Thank you so much. Play basketball in low-top shoes and blow your ankles, Achilles, and knees out like half the NBA. Yeah, I was wearing high-top shoes when I blew out my Achilles, so I don't think it really does anything there. That really means anything. I blew out my Achilles, and it was pretty damn bad. Pretty damn bad. I was wearing high tops. But someone said, how do I think the Sky will do? I think the Sky are in that, like, Fever Aces in a 5-game series. Fever. No, unless, look, if Parker-Tyus comes back and is playing like an all-star, which is unlikely, if Jewel Lloyd becomes a net positive on the basketball court, and if Aja is still the best player in the WNBA, or at least in that conversation, then it's hard to bet against the Aces, but genuinely unlikely. Unlikely. That's all I'm gonna say. The Sparks traded JJ. Is that Jonquel Jones? 11 straight points to lead the Sparks to victory in Game 5 to win a championship. I mean, look, Chelsea Grace obviously was unbelievable. Oh, yeah, Jesus, I didn't realize she was Connecticut. But also, not going to lie, if you are the Connecticut Sun, you're happy you traded Chelsea Gray for Jonquel Jones. You're happy you did that. It's not like Jonquel didn't win a literal MVP. She didn't win an MVP in Connecticut. But no, I think the Sky are in that. The Sky are in the conversation of should make the playoffs. Wouldn't surprise me if they don't. Like, they're not in the tankathon. So there's three teams in the tankathon. The Valkyries, the Valkyries in the tankathon, the Mystics, and the Sun are in the tankathon. For the Sky, I think the Sky, the Sparks, the Wings, and the Dream are all probably competing for maybe 2 playoff spots. I think all of them combined are competing for 2 playoff spots. Because it's like, you just never know. Because like, we'll see anyway this year. Because there's no Kennedy Carter. There's no Kennedy Carter for the Sky. Like, I'm gonna do breakdowns of all of these teams, but there's no Kennedy Carter for the Chicago Sky. So their point guard is literally their job. Sleuth's job is gonna be dribble the ball down and give the ball to the bigs. And also with what you call it, with Cardoso playing inside and Angel Reese playing the outside, I think there's going to be a lot of games where it probably gets ugly. But yeah, it is an interesting one anyway to see how they get on. Haley Vanlith can play point guard. She can. People expecting way too much from Haley Vanlith. I got to talk about that one. Like, people are expecting so much more. Like, are expecting way too much from Haley Vanlith. I don't think, again, Haley Vanlith is a bad player by any means. But it's just, you have to have normal expectations. Like, people's expectations for Haley Vanlith are just simply put too high. Like, I'm hearing expectations of Haley Vanlith being a starter. Like, Haley Vanlith, let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. Haley Vanlith is probably, at this point in time, their third string point guard. And she's not. She has to play point guard for this team because she is not cracking this rotation as a two guard. You cannot play her with Sloot. You cannot play her with Sloot at the same time. So if we look at the Sky's roster right now, and she's going to make the roster. Like, people saying Haley Vanlith's not going to make the roster are crazy. But no, she's going to make the roster. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like, Haley Vanlith is going to make the roster. But there's just so much talk about Haley Vanlith being like a big option. Angel's going to average more points than she did last year. She's going to take a lot less shots than she did last year. It all depends on how she's shooting from mid. She's playing a lot more on the perimeter this year. They'll bench Angel Reese, tries to modify her game. She only shoots 40%. And no, because like I think that I think if her focus is probably going to be more on defense this year. If the Sky want to win, her focus is going to be on defense this year. But so the Sky, Civica's not coming over. She's at least not coming over till post Eurobasket. So if you look at the roster right now and just who's going to be playing where. So Maddie Westbell's going to be on the team. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. She's going to be on the team. And if you're looking at the shooting guard position, Rachel Banham is ahead of Vanlith in the pecking order. And if you want to say, Haley Vanlith was an All-American in college, she's automatically going to be ahead of Rachel Banham. Rachel Banham did nothing. It's like, let's not forget again, Rachel Banham has been good on a lot of good WNBA teams. And let's not forget in college, let's look at her college stats. In Rachel Banham's, final year in college, she did in fact average 28 points per game. Maddie Westbell, I think, is going to make it's between her and Bursch to make the team. I think it'll be Westbell's. She's not going to make it in as a two guard over Kia Nurse off the bench, and obviously Ariel Atkins is starting. Like, it's an obvious one that Ariel Atkins is starting. So you're looking at her potentially having to compete with Mariah Jefferson, and teams just like Mariah Jefferson for some reason. Like, there were all the reports, and to be fair, these were the same people reporting the Sky were trading the third pick, and that the Sky were doing all they could to bring Courtney Vandersloot in, and that included trading the third pick. Like, all of those reports said they're happy with Mariah Jefferson as a backup point guard. And I mean, like, she did started for the Mercury, that averaged 10.5 points in 2023. But I just didn't rate her at all last year. Did not rate her for the Sun. Did not rate her for the Sky. And her and Vanlith are around the same height. So it just depends on what they're looking to do. So someone says Sloot will be a substitute this year. They're not paying Sloot $250,000 to be a substitute. They're not paying Courtney Vandersloot to be a substitute, especially for an 11th pick in a draft. Like, and we can be honest, if we're looking at the drafts, the only players that are looking like they're going to start, Kiki Iriafen purely because Aaliyah Edwards is injured, but pre-injuries, the only players in the top up was Paige Bueckers and Sonia Citron that were likely to start from the first 10 picks in the draft. So it's unlikely that pick number 11 is going to start. It's not like last year where Aaliyah Edwards, Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, Cameron Brink, Rakia Jackson, Caitlin Clark were all either starters or like right near starters straight away. Because if you look at the previous year, like, we forget how little rookies tend to play in the WNBA. That's why Caitlin Clark was such an anomaly. Because if you look at the 2023 WNBA draft, you're looking, list of full selections. So Diamond Miller, in fairness, she did okay in her first year. Maddie Siegrist did not play much in her first year. Suarez is out of the league. Lou Lopez Seneschal might as well be out of the league. Haley Jones has not played much for Atlanta. Grace Berger could be out of the league if she doesn't make the Lynx roster. Amaher might be out of the league soon. Jordan Horson, very good. Zaya Cook, I don't know how long she's going to be in the league. I have no idea who Abby Myers is, and I don't know who she is either. Like, so if we're looking at the league and people are expecting a lot of picks being like all of a sudden, Caitlin Clark was an exception to the rule. The way Caitlin Clark translated from college to the WNBA is something that has not happened and probably won't happen soon. And Sky will need to low manage Sloot if they make the playoffs. Yeah, but you also have to take into account that when it comes to Courtney Vandersloot or the Sky, that Ariel Atkins can run a bit of the 1-2. So there's going to be some minutes for there at the 1. Like, you're not playing 2K where you sub on your starters and your bench lineup, or you're playing my team where there's position locks and you can only play someone whose primary position is point guard or point guard. Like, Ariel Atkins will log in some point guard minutes. And there's a possibility that if Kia Nurse is hooping or if Beck Allen is hooping. So let's just say Beck Allen, Michaela Onyenwere are both hooping. If they want to continue to start the Twin Towers or the Skyscrapers, which they will. No matter how badly it's going for this year, that's why they've got Sloot in. They want to see if it's going to work. For this year, they're going to be starting them no matter what. No matter how well, if a Beck Allen is playing unbelievably well, even though you could argue maybe Beck Allen might fit better beside both of them. But again, we're yet to see. If Michaela Onyenwere is hooping like she did last year, if Beck Allen is hooping as well, and Beck Allen's brilliant. Beck Allen has been a starter for contenders for a lot of her career. Like, people are thinking she's suddenly coming off the bench or she's not doing anything. No, Beck Allen's probably starting for the team. But there's a non-zero chance that Ariel Atkins runs the 1. Like, maybe not starting. Maybe not start at the 1, but they could start running lineups with Ariel Atkins at the 1, Onyenwere at the 2, Beck Allen at the 3, Angel Reese the 4, Camila Cardoso at the 5, and suddenly have the best defensive lineup in the WNBA. Like, there is genuinely potential that the Sky can go out with a lineup that's the best lineup in the WNBA. And one player not mentioned any of those lineups is Haley Vanlith. I think she's going to have to fight for minutes. And I mean that. Like, I don't think she's going to make the roster. I think she's going to play a few minutes. She's not going to get Nika muled. But she's going to have to fight to play above, like, 15 minutes a game. So not even 15. Geez, she's going to have to fight to get to 10 minutes a game. Because I would say game one, it's like she might get us a first half. She's going to have to fight to get into the second half rotation. Do I think she can do that? Who knows? And I mean that genuinely. Who knows if she can do that or not? But all I'm going to say is that it's not a guarantee. And a lot of people are talking about Haley Vanlith like, oh, she's going to compete for Rookie of the Year. She's going to have to fight for minutes. Like, the only rookies that I think that are going to walk right in and potentially start are maybe Anissa Morrow, Paige Bueckers, obviously. And it's someone saying Timpson Rookie of the Year. Like, Michaela Timpson's probably going to get DNPs. She's going to be 11th in the rotation. She's going to get a lot of DNPs. It's all about long-term with Michaela Timpson if you are a Fever fan. Short-term, I don't think you're going to see too much. But yeah, I just think people are setting expectations way too high for Haley Vanlith. Like, I think she'll be good. I think long-term she'll be good. But, like, a lot of people are talking about, like, her potentially being in the Rookie of the Year convo or starting above Courtney Vandersloot, who they not only are paying $250,000 to, they traded the number 2 pick away to appease Courtney Vandersloot, or number 3 pick away to appease Courtney Vandersloot. So there's no way they did all that just to bench Sloot for the 11th pick in the draft. Let's be real. Actually, do you guys not see, speaking of injuries? Oh, Michaela Timpson's going to be really good. She's just not going to play much as a rookie. Since it's LSU, I don't think she's got too many good memories of LSU. But yeah, obviously, speaking of injuries, the Mystics have another one. So obviously, they already had had an injury in Georgia Amore, which isn't ideal. And they've now got another injury. Aaliyah Edwards has now picked up an injury. And look, it doesn't seem too bad. There's a lower back contusion. And you just never know. You never know how bad this is. These back injuries, something like a back contusion she can either be good in 2 weeks. She could be good for day one of the season. However, you just never know with back injuries. Like, depending on the severity of it, I'm looking it up now, and like being reevaluated in 2 weeks, we don't know how bad it is. I'm guessing if she has to be reevaluated in 2 weeks, that you're probably waiting. You're probably waiting it out to see how bad the bruise is. You're probably waiting it out. But at the same time, it could be bad, and I really hope it's not. I really, really hope it's not, because Aaliyah Edwards was set to have a breakout season. Like, Aaliyah Edwards is so freaking good. Like, she's so good. Like, Aaliyah Edwards is good enough that you can maybe make the argument that, you know, they're going to go and keep her out. Like, they would, if they had the option to pick at 6 again, with the same players gone off the board, you can make the argument that they would still take Aaliyah Edwards. I wouldn't if I was Washington and we're doing a redraft and somehow Angel Reese is still on the board at 6. You're obviously taking Angel Reese. But the fact is that there is that's how good Aaliyah Edwards is. There is an argument to be made. But they've gotten 2 injuries at training camp. What on earth's going on at training camp? Like, she didn't participate the first day. Kind of makes sense. They're gonna need healthy. Okay, so she wasn't even participating. Okay, that's an interesting one. But yeah, no footage. Put the Mystics in bubble wrap. The injury bug loves the Mystics. And back injuries again. Elena Deladon. Let's not forget that. But it's mad. It is mad looking at these. We already knew something was wrong when she wasn't doing full practice that first day of camp. Hopefully there's good news after a 2-week period and the team hasn't suffered enough the past couple of years. The only thing is they're trying to lose. That is one thing, is they are 100% trying to lose. More cursed than the Wizards. Like, they are 100% trying to lose. And not the end of the world. They probably are going to be very, very... they're going to be very... not conservative. But they're... yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it. But they're not going to rush Aaliyah Edwards back. If Aaliyah Edwards could be back for game 1 of the season... and put any sort of a risk, or they could bring her back for game 7 with 0 risk, the Mystics are going to choose to bring her back game 7. Because 1, you've got Kiki Riafen, it allows you to develop her a little bit, and you're trying to lose. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, when you are not trying to win, the decisions you make aren't like, the decisions you make are a little bit different than if you're a team trying to win straight away. Call you crazy. The Aces put Kitley at the 5, move Age to the 4. I mean, Age played the 4 last season because Kia Stokes played the 5. That's not anything crazy, and it's like all Liz Kitley has to do is beat out Kia Stokes, which she might be able to do. But yeah, it's a contusion requiring 2 weeks to reevaluate is suspect. It's one of those injuries where it's like you have to make sure that you just have to make sure everything's okay, because you just never know with some of those bruises. Like, it can be bad. Like, it should be okay, but you just never know. Sometimes it can seem like it's grand, turns out to be significantly, significantly worse. And it's better off evaluating in 2 weeks than trying to evaluate now, saying, oh, this is when she's going to be back. And then all of a sudden we're starting the season and she's expected to start the season, and all of a sudden she can't start the season. So obviously that's something you don't want to do as a team, and it's something that you obviously has to take into account. But again, for the Mystics, if she doesn't start the season, you would assume that Kiki Iriafen is going to come in as the center. That is what the assumption that's being made. And, not Kiki Iriafen's coming in as center. Kiki Iriafen's power forward center wherever Shakira Austin is. Or if they're trying to win, Steph Dolson starts. I keep thinking, I was like, oh, Kiki Riefen's going to come in for her. I keep forgetting the Mystics still employ Stephanie Dolson, who is significantly better than all of them other than Leah Edwards. So maybe they start with like Citron, I would assume starts. It probably goes Citron, Sykes, Melbourne, Austin, and Dolson, which is fine. And I would have assumed Dolson maybe would come off the bench for Leah Edwards as a starter. But I was about to say, I was like, Kiki got her big break. In fairness, Kiki got her big break being in the rotation. I'm just thinking, I'm like, would Kiki even be in the rotation? Would she even be in the rotation? Because I'm like, Emily Engsler is really good. So they have Emily Engsler plays that same position. I rate Emily Engsler really highly. So she plays that same position. And obviously it's a case where she's in ahead of her. Maybe Engsler plays the 3. But yeah, I was like, it means Iriafen going to be in the rotation early enough anyway. But I still do rate Kiki Iriafen enough that I think she's probably going to be getting more of a chance now. Probably get more of a chance because they've got a lot of young bigs on that team. Very, very young bigs. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this is something more serious and they're just kind of saying it's a bone contusion to kind of, I don't know, maybe calm people down a little bit? Or do you guys think that it could, or that it's just them trying to be as cautious as possible? I think they're just being cautious, to be honest. I genuinely do think they're going to be extremely cautious with all their players because, again, they're not really trying to do anything. South Carolina fans would say Kiki watch from the bench would be good for development. Yeah, I don't know. You're probably not wrong with that one. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. Obviously live on stream as well. I'll see you guys. I'm still on stream, but the Indiana Fever are practicing day numero 4. The Indiana Fever's practice is here. So, obviously, look, Damaris Dantas is not there. I'm not, until they said it's an excused personal absence. Not gonna hope everything's okay with Damaris Dantas. No point talking about it, but there's bigger things than basketball. So hopefully she's all good. If she's good to go with the weekend, great. If she's not, all good, all's fine. The team, if she needs to step away for a little bit, the team can function for a few weeks without Dantas. But we are taking a look at some of the clips from Chloe Peterson. Obviously, if you're looking at practice, some practice footage, an inadvertent practice on what they do when they don't agree with an out of bounds call. What's happening here? No brawls. Oh. Finger wave. But let's take a look at the teams right here. Who is on the floor? So starters are still starters. I would assume Caitlin Clark is somewhere in there. And bench lineup. Is that Sophie? Chat, is that Sophie or Lexi? Because I think that's Bria Turner guarding Boston. Jaylen Brown in bench lineup. And Yvonne. Oh, sorry, there's Brie Hall there. Yvonne Ejim on the floor. So that is Sophie with bench lineup. But Michaela Timpson playing with starters. Okay. That's interesting. Last practice before their game. Oh, well, almost certainly. Last proper practice before their first preseason game. And you've got Michaela Timpson with starter squad. Okay. That's a real interesting one. That is a very, very interesting one if you are looking as a member, if you're looking for the Indiana Fever, because she's obviously mini Natasha Howard. And maybe they just like Natasha Howard. So I saw a post on Reddit, actually. It was one of the funniest posts I've ever seen. And it was talking about the obvious player. It's clear the Fever are going to keep Jaylen Brown. She has so much WNBA experience. She's played like 10 WNBA games. It's like she was fantastic overseas. And I'm like, is this written by AI? Yeah, she was good in Turkey a couple of years back, but she had the worst season I've ever seen from a player overseas. But what's going on, Dantas? No point speculating. But when it comes to Michaela Timpson, it is interesting again to see her with starter team. Because again, you can look too much into this. Obviously, we're looking at footage. I would say Sophie Cunningham she's going to play the way she did in Phoenix. She's going to play the way she did with the Phoenix Mercury last year, where she's going to come on first off the bench. Doesn't matter where. She could come on 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. She's just going to be the first off the bench. So that's what I'm expecting for Sophie Cunningham. I wouldn't be that surprised. And then if someone gets injured, Sophie Cunningham's going to come in to whatever position. Like, people didn't realize that about Sophie Cunningham. They're like, oh, like, she's just kind of an enforcer. No, she's like, I'm not going to say the, like, Draymond-esque or Draymond type, but you just never know. She kind of does a little bit of everything. She can play. She's going to be their backup point guard more than likely. She's going to be their backup shooting guard. If they're probably going to run her a bit at the 1, which is obviously why she was so excited about getting to play with the Fever, talking about their motion offense and stuff, that she's going to have to do more. She's going to have to do more. And I mean, if you guys agree that Sophie Cunningham's going to be a good addition to the Indiana Fever, subscribe. We are trying to hit 44.8 thousand subscribers by the end of the day, and we're 8 subscribers off. But yeah, for this lineup anyway, like with Yvonne Ejim, Jaylen Brown, and Bree Hall on the floor, none of them are probably going to make the team. But I do have to say, from everything I've seen, Yvonne Ejim has genuinely looked good. Sophie Cunningham's natural position is the 3. I don't know. What's the difference between a 2 and a 3? I'm genuine question. What is the difference between a 2 and a 3? It's basketball. We're in 2025. We're in 2025. There's no real positions in basketball. I know the WNBA still has them, but any team that has positional versatility is going to be a better team. But yeah, like, this is probably the most interesting thing, is that you're looking at Michaela Timpson in with starters. And I'm guessing, again, it's probably because they want Bree Turner playing a bit with the bench. But I think Michaela Timpson, I have this feeling that she is going to be maybe not the top rookies, but like per minute production, she's going to be exceptional. I think she's going to be exceptional in per minute production. And again, I just think, could Turner or Colson get cut for Timpson and Bree Hall? Their contract's not guaranteed. 1 word, 2 letters, no. They're not cutting a 2-time champion that they brought in for veteran leadership, and Bree Turner, who is a 2-time DPOY candidate, who they brought in for defense, for Bree Hall, for worse Lexi Hull. They are not cutting a player for worse Lexi Hull. They're probably going to go and have, what I would assume they're going to do with Bree Hall is they're going to pay for Bree Hall's apartment. They're going to keep Bree Hall sitting in Indiana. Tell her, whatever you do, do not sign with somebody else. We're going to not have you for the month of May. We're going to sign you in June. That is my assumption, what they're going to do with Bree Hall. That is my assumption. Would be kind of cool if Dantas is working with the Brazil national team. I don't think she's playing for the Brazil national team in this game. I don't think she's playing in this game. If that might explain it. Like, I wouldn't be that surprised if, I don't know, maybe if it's a 1-day thing and the Rebel red jersey. I have an actual one. This is from the gate of DH. I got the actual one. But why June? Because they can't afford to keep her for the whole year. They can sign her on a prorated rookie deal during the season for like $50K. I don't know when they can, but I would assume it'll be in June. But they'll be able to go and sign her for that amount of time. But yeah, it's obviously Aaliyah Edwards injured, but it's a very interesting thing seeing from training camp, seeing the lineups they're running. I do think, however, they're not cutting Bree Turner. They're not cutting Sid Colson. There's no chance. They're not cutting Sid Colson for Bree Hall. They do not have a backup point guard. Like, they straight up, they do not have a backup point guard otherwise. And I understand Sophie Cunningham can play there, but you need an actual backup point guard. You need an actual one. But yeah, so for fans of Michaela Timpson, seeing her playing with the starters should probably be as much of a positive as we could see. And to be honest, if it turns out that that Natasha Howard is absolutely hooping, if it turns out Natasha Howard ends up being like the perfect player and they're really a big fan of how Natasha Howard is playing on the team with her running, then having a mini Natasha Howard as Natasha Howard's backup might actually be the best thing for the team. And we might actually be seeing potentially Michaela Timpson in a much better spot. A much better spot. So, yeah, is there anything? So we're 40 minutes in. We're going to stay on for another 20. Caruso and guard Wemby. I mean, yeah, a lot of small people can guard Wemby. Wemby also has turn and shoot over them. Anything else? Oh, I need to talk about this. Just an update. We got to talk about an update, lads, because there has been a lot of talk about Dominique Malonga this season. There has been an awful lot of talk about whether or not Dominique Malonga is going to come over to the WNBA. There has been so much talk about it because right now she was spotted in watching a EuroLeague game. She was at a EuroLeague game instead of being at training camp. So a lot of people are really kind of confused about what she's doing. What jersey I have on? I have a Lexi Hull Fever Red jersey. But when it comes to Dominique Malonga, she's coming over this year. And it's an interesting one again. Like, if you've got, say, Noelle Quinn saying she'll give an update on Malonga. The only reason Dominique Malonga would not come over is if the Storm don't want her to come over. It's as simple as that. Like, Dominique Malonga wants to come over. And also, why would she do training camp? I mean that. I genuinely mean that. Why would she show up for training camp? And I understand, again, when it comes to this, she doesn't have a visa. We saw it with Nika Mule. Nika Mule did not get her visa for like 5 games of the season. You do not understand how hard it is to get a visa for America. It is near impossible. And she could not get that. They could not start that visa process until 2 weeks ago. It takes so long to get those visas. And sorry, when I say near impossible, I don't mean near impossible as in not like can't be done, but near impossible to be done in 2 weeks. Like, that's just not happening. It's just not happening. The WNBA needs the same NBA admin to get those visas. The NBA players can't get those visas either, can they? Summer League, maybe? But, like, we saw when it came to Nika Mule. Like, Nika Mule was able to show up, but she wasn't able to do any, like, team activities. Dominique Malonga has just finished her season a few days ago. Going to take time off, realistically. And if you're the Seattle Storm, the best thing you can do is, let your future superstar rest. Rest a little bit. Don't bring her over. But don't worry about getting her for training camp because, by the way, she's not insured if she does training camp as far as I'm aware. Like, she cannot be a professional athlete. She's not on a student visa. If she comes over on a holiday visa, she's allowed to do training camp. She's 100% allowed to do training camp, but the team's insurance aren't going to cover if she gets hurt. If someone else gets hurt because of her, the insurance isn't going to cover that. So there's just no point No point at all in Dominique Malonga not coming over. Athletes on pro teams should get an automatic visa. Doesn't work like that. Does not work like that. Especially again with the way with like who's the president now. It's gonna be harder for these athletes to get visas. Dominique Malonga is gonna come over, but when it comes to her getting to the WNBA and Noelle Quinn saying they're gonna get an update, she's probably gonna come over this year. However, if it turns out that she's not going to be able to get her visa until she's not going to be able to get her visa till July, they might just say leave it for this year. Take the summer off, leave it for this year. Or if it turns out that she's able to come back, she got the visa sorted in the middle of June, instead of bringing her over for, say, a week, then have her leave to go to Eurobasket, they might just say come back after Eurobasket. And I think it's the reason why there's not one overseas player. Like, Anastasia Kosu, they're still trying to sort out her visa. I don't think she's over, is she? I don't think she's over. Aisha Sivka does not have her visa sorted. She's not going to be over. And, what's her name? Juste Jacite as well. So, with Eurobasket being in July or in June to the start of July, it is like the easiest thing that these teams can do is just say, you know what, we're gonna try sort out your visa, but don't worry about coming over until Eurobasket, until after Eurobasket. You're gonna be leaving for Eurobasket anyway, so we're gonna sort out your visas. We'll have your visa sorted before Eurobasket, so you don't need to worry about that. But instead of you coming over for like a week, trying to integrate with the team and then having to leave, you might as well just stay over in Europe for the time being and come over when we have you for the rest of the season. So a lot of people are worried about Malonga not coming over by choice. It's probably the Storm's choice, or it's probably either the Storm's choice themselves or a visa issue. Because Dominique Malonga wants to come over. Dominique Malonga wants to come over immediately. But unfortunately, you're not able to play. You're not able to work in the United States without a valid visa. And it's extremely difficult to get an athlete visa. It is extremely difficult to get a pro athlete visa in America. No matter what league you're in. The NBA, obviously, it's probably a little bit easier. Because if you guys don't, again, talking a little bit, I don't know exactly what it is for the athlete's visa. But I know in a visa that I was probably about to get before the pandemic, your salary is taken into account when you're like with your visa. So obviously when NBA players making $10 million a year, that's going to be taken into account in some way for their visa. Whereas it might not, like a $60K salary. Not that it means you're not going to get a visa, but it means that it could be something. But Janelle Salone isn't a rookie but never played in the W before. I haven't heard any issues about her not being able to play. So the difference between Janelle Salone is she was not drafted. So Janelle Salone signed with the Golden State Valkyries in, if I'm not mistaken, she signed with the Valkyries in like February during free agent. So they can start that process of getting her a visa in February instead of April the 15th. If you get me, if you understand. Like, the visa will be, the visas are not guarantees, but they're as good as guarantees if it's a WNBA player. The problem is the time it takes. Whereas if they start the visa process in February, it's now May. So 100% Salone will have that visa process sorted. So she's there for training camp. She's there day one. For these other rookies overseas, the likelihood is that the visa process is going to take at least a month. And then a month into that time is when the season starts. And then also a month later, they're going to have to leave for Eurobasket anyway. So it's the choice of whether you want to bring them in the middle of May, no training camp, nothing, no integration with the team, and try to integrate them with the team as the season's going on. Or do you want to, and they have to leave after like 10 games anyway, or do you want to bring them in after Eurobasket where you know they've got a full stretch for the rest of the season, where they're not in and out of the lineup. So I can see why, especially for a team like the Storm, why they might be completely happy with leaving Dominique Malonga. And you also have to take into account that Dominique Malonga is 19. If in year 5 she's going to be the exact same age going to be the exact same age as Paige is now. Torre's with the Valkyries and she was signed last week. Has Torre played in the W before or played? How long has she been a pro player? Maybe not going through a draft. Maybe something's different. But, like, we saw it again with Nika Mule. We saw it with Nika Mule there. But, yeah, it is going to be an interesting one to see. But, look, Dominique Malonga is almost certainly coming over this year. And if she doesn't come over this year, not the end of the world for either the Storm or herself, if we're being completely honest. Fever versus Brazil. The entirety of Brazil are going to watch that game. That might be the most viewed WNBA game ever. I'm not joking. I'm actually not joking with that. That might actually be. Maybe not in the United States, but worldwide, that might be the most viewed WNBA game in history. Pro athletes need to be treated better. Visa processes are hard. It's hard, especially in America. As somebody who was trying prior to the pandemic, when all the visas got stopped, was trying to get a visa sorted, it is the biggest pain in the ass trying to get a visa. Ended up not going over. Made gaming content, and the pandemic was great for gaming content creators, and bought a house in Dublin. Like, by the time the visas had opened back up, I bought a house in Dublin, and the immigration lawyer was contacting me about submitting the visa, and I'm like, at this stage, no. At this stage, I'm just staying in Dublin. Finals year should be nuts. I agree. Is there any other topic you guys want me to talk about? I'm probably going to stay online for one more topic. Is there any other topic you guys want me to talk about live? I just need to see this. I'm going to check the WNBA Reddit. I'm going to check the WNBA Reddit, and I'm going to start typing people's names in. Fever versus Brazil. I'm going to talk about that more on the day. Oh my god, Anissa Morrow's injured. Do I think Lucy also make the team? I've made a video about that. But yes, I do. What are we doing? Lads, just cancel training camp now. I mean, cancel training camp right now. So already we've seen Aaliyah Edwards be out with an injury, Meg Gustafson out, and now turns out again, not the doesn't seem like it's a major injury, but Anissa Morrow is injured. Anissa Morrow is injured, and again, I get it. There is precaution. This one does not seem to be too bad, but like, what is going on? What is going on? Post-practice notes from Rashid Mazian. Anissa Morrow and Diamond Shields won't play the game. Seattle, not a long-term concern, but they're limited out of an abundance of caution. Respect to travel the team could play. Morrow just finished NCAA tournament, probably nicked up. So resting her makes sense. Surprised they didn't say Rivers had missed a trip. Maybe it's assumed. I would assume Sanaya Rivers is making the trip. Also, my condolences to Sanaya Rivers. Can't just have a day of peace. Hope they're okay and healthy. Like Anissa Morrow. So how many people are going to be injured? It's just not enough. There's just not enough time. Realistically, there's just not enough time between the start of or the end of college and the start of the season. And I can't believe more rookies didn't get injured last season. I cannot believe it. Like, Cardoso got injured in the first preseason game. Was Cardoso and Brink the only two rookies got? Oh, Angel Reese broke her wrist. So in fairness, a few of them did, but like that was obviously a little bit later. But we are already looking. at 2 of the top 7 picks getting injured at training camp. Thankfully, it's not the end of the world, since she's going to be okay and it's not an ACL tear and she played in training camp. But like, we are genuinely out here looking at multiple injuries. Oh, like if I was, we're looking and it's like people are talking about maybe competing with Paige Bueckers for rookie of the year gets hurt. Like, touch wood, nobody else gets hurt. Touch wood, no one else gets hurt, because you really don't want to see that, especially players that are coming out of college and saying Lucy Olsen should make the team for PR and financial reasons. Lucy Olsen should make the team because she's good enough to make the team. Let's be honest. But man, UConn LSU look like a team to beat next season. LSU, UConn, UCLA, South Carolina. UCLA just got Neepkins. South Carolina just got Latson and whoever. Oh, I've blanked on her name. The 6'6" big. But yeah, it's a little bit of a. It's just mad. It's genuinely just mad to see. Okay, that's her name. That is her name. South Carolina can be really good. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that there's gonna be a chance that she competes for Rookie of the Year? Do you guys think that there's gonna be a chance she competes with Paige? At this stage, you might as well just hand the award to Paige. Paige is gonna be starting at the 1. Paige could average 8 points a game and win Rookie of the Year. Like, she's not going to. She's gonna do more. She's gonna do more, but she could pull a Onyenwere Rookie of the Year. Like, Onyenwere, I'm pretty sure. Paige was sure to get Rookie of the Year, yeah. No question about it. And Onyenwere won Rookie of the Year averaging 8.6 points per game on 39% from the field. So it's a... She might again go and pull an Onyenwere. Either way, it's like this last year's rookie class was an anomaly in every way of describing it. It was just an anomaly, with Caitlin being one of the greatest rookies of all time, Angel being a top 20 rookie of all time. Let's be honest. Leonie Phoebish having the greatest performance from a rookie in the history of the WNBA playoffs. And if you want to say, oh, she wasn't a rookie because she played pro before, she was in fact not the youngest rookie. There were younger rookies that came out of college than Leonie Phoebish. She's only 6 months younger than Sedona Prince, or older than Sedona Prince, who no one picked up Sedona Prince actually. But last year's was an exception, and how again last year's rookie class just came right in, and even if they weren't the best straight away, by the end of the year there were so many good players. Even JC Sheldon was decent. Kate Martin came right into the rotation for the Aces, but even JC Sheldon was the dud. Like, she was the dud of the first 7 picks, and even she was good. But now you're looking this season, you're hearing about injuries coming into training camp. You're hearing about, obviously, touch wood, no one else gets hurt, the freaking ACL injury to Georgia Amore. And it's just going to be a tough one. And I hope that this is just out of precaution. I really do. Because there is a very good chance this is out of precaution. She might have just been tired. She might have just been exhausted. And look, sometimes you can just be exhausted and just say, you know what? It's best to give you a night off, especially because these teams do play quite a couple of preseason games in a row, and then it's almost a week off. Am I right in saying there's a couple of preseason games, and then there's a little bit of time off, and then there's another week till the season starts? So maybe not full week, but a few days. So maybe giving them a day off isn't the worst thing in the world post-training camp, especially for the rookies, and hopefully it's precaution. But man, it just seems like this we're just hearing about so many injuries in training camp. And maybe, to be honest, I didn't cover training camp last year, so maybe it's the case every year because, yeah, you just never know. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is just a precautionary thing? You guys think it's going to have any effect on Anissa Morrow, her rookie season, and do you guys think that this is? It seems like the one player that people have thought had any chance of competing with Paige has, has now picked up a albeit minor injury, but it's hard to compete with a Paige Bueckers if you're not 100% healthy. So yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Like Tim's game should get a fine Ross spot. She was standing in a sideline clip you're talking about and not playing with the first team. No, she was wearing navy. Navy is first team. Grey is bench. She was wearing navy. But yeah, lads, for any of you guys watching this on a video, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. So yeah, lads, let's see. Can we get to 150 likes, lads? We got 375 people in here. Can we get 29 more likes? 29 more likes to end the stream. 150 would be absolutely incredible, lads. It would be absolutely incredible. But yeah, that is it. Thank you guys for being here for the stream. This has been one of the bigger streams. And I know obviously I've been live, maybe not as much as I would like to, but have been live a little bit. But trust me, once the season starts and once the games start, I will be live I'll be live every day. There'll either be a night stream or a day stream every single day. So, well, actually maybe sometimes other than Fridays, but I will be streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday maybe. But there will be 7 to 8 streams a week minimum. So yeah, 10 more likes and we'll end the stream. We can end the stream on 10. We get 10 more? 7 more. 7 off 150, lads. We're 7 off 150. Six off. 6 more. I know, Anyway, I do really appreciate all of you guys for being in here in the stream. I really do appreciate that. But yeah, thanks to all of you guys. Unfortunately, we were 4 off. We were 4 off the 150 likes, lads. 1 off. We're only 1 off. Will we get there? Will we get there? 1 singular like off, lads. We're there. Thank you guys for being in the stream, and I will see you guys on Saturday for the Fevers